Alright. Start with creative mode. Now, let's see. I have some of this junk from my inventory. I'm doing testing with what prosperity actually does. And it turns out it gives you a lot more item drops from enemies, but no more cash than you would normally get. So this is the advanced crafting table. The look of it's probably going to be changing in the near future. Jeddick, give us a little preview. Kitty. But this is what it looks like for now, and I'm going to run through how it works currently, some issues that are there currently. All of this is likely to change at some point, but I'll just kind of run through the way things are now. So a couple things just to start out with. The overloaded power core is the single highest damage item you can add to a weapon. The Agilite Greatsword Blade is the second highest at 12 to 14. The Corrupted Blade is the third, and it has Vampiric, which drains health back into your character. So those are good items if you're trying to get a lot of damage on a weapon. Just real quick. And we're already up to, what, 40 damage on average, plus Vampiric, which is pretty great. So, if you want to make a weapon, let's just run through some of the best items. So the Iron Hammerhead, I think, is the fourth highest, because you can't have more than one of the same type of item in a weapon. Once you add a second Greatsword Blade, it's only cosmetic. So if I just put like a bunch of these Agilite Greatsword Blades in, you'll see here, and put the overloaded core in, that adds the damage. First blade adds the damage. Second blade, no stat change. No stat change. No stat change. So the extra blades aren't of any use. And I have tested, you know, if you try an Agilite and a Corrupted Greatsword Blade, like all the Greatsword Blades, including the Great Shark, Bone Blade, Web Blade, you can only have one of those that contributes to weapon stats. The Sword Blades, you have just the normal blades, and then Shark, Curved, Beam, Swoop, da-da-da. All of these count as standard blades, so you can only have one of these contributing to your weapon. Which, a crazy thing I just realized is you can have two sharks in the weapon, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you can have two sharks in one weapon, which is protocol. Let's we'll play around with those in a second, just to show how the weapon crafting stuff works. As far as handles go, your three best handles are your Agilite hilt, your Zilith Katana Guard, and your Agilite Tool Rod. Now the reason you want to go with the Zilith Katana Guard is because it's only -1 damage. You get a slightly better speed bonus going up to Corrupted or Agilite, but at the downside of damage removed from your weapon. So the Zilith ends up being the best. It's the most swing time that you get knocked off your weapon total while only subtracting 1 damage. Because the Copper, Iron, Gold, and Zilith all subtract 1 damage, -2 from Corrupted, -3 from Agilite. Now, the Corrupted and Agilite, I think, do have other effects that they add. I don't recall off the top of my head. But just for base, like swing speed and stuff, that's one of your best setups. So let's just slap all this in here and see what it looks like stats-wise. Yeah, so that's a really fast swing speed and almost 45 damage on average with Vampiric, which is a really solid weapon. It looks a bit doofy though. So if we want to change up the look, you can come over here and tick and untick the various items so that only certain things will appear. And you can be like, oh, I like the look of that. But this sword here, maybe I want it to be not quite as wide, because if you notice the katana guard doesn't come out to the edge of the blade. So you can come over here to scale. It automatically goes to transform. If you come over to scale, then you can adjust the width of a blade. And so we can just shrink it down just a little bit smaller than that guard. And let's say you wanted it to be nice and tall. You know, a real long blade like that. Boom. Look at that. What a beautiful sword. Now, adjusting those parameters does adjust your attack time, because it's, I don't know exactly how it calculates, but it looks at the various size and positions of the different weapons that are checked as visible. Now, one thing I will point out, currently, in the current released build, this 7th slot is bugged. Anything you put in here, if you try to make visual modifications to it, those modifications will not go through. So my recommendation is to always put either a power core or some kind of crystal, one of the elemental crystals, to get a small elemental damage boost in this last slot, because those, well, the elemental crystals do have visual effects, but they're not effects that you can change. And the overloaded power core has no visual effects. So it's not going to affect the way you build your weapon and how it looks. Versus if you put a bunch of things in here, and I'd put this greatsword blade down at the end, and I've got it looking like this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. And then I hit craft, it's not going to come out looking like this if it's in that 7th slot. Now, as far as I know, Jeddick has fixed that for the next build, but as of the current build, that's still an issue. So we're gonna just go ahead and name this real quick. I always like to go ahead and click on weapon. I think it defaults to weapon, but I always click it just to make sure it's highlighted, just to be on the safe side. We'll call this longsword. It's a strong sword. Boom. And there it is. As you can see, it's a nice long sword. You get your stab attack, your slash attack, pretty quick. If you press F7, then you can see hitboxes for your character and for enemies. So if I just spawn in a skeleton here, and you can see the skeleton's hitbox. And when you stab or swing, if you notice, there's a red hitbox on your character and a blue hitbox near the end of the weapon. It's not always exactly accurate. The damage is in between those two hitboxes. So all along here can interact and do damage. You don't have to hit them with the end. And if you stop moving, it's your skeleton. Basically, if you're really close and you hit them with the back part of that. Oops. Stop moving. I'm trying to demonstrate. There we go. I think I might have caught him with the front end of the blade at the beginning there. We'll spawn another one in here. Make sure we demonstrate this properly. Yeah, I think I'm catching him with the actual edge of the blade when we start the swing there. Well, at any rate, it gives you a nice clear idea of what your weapon hitboxes look like and how effective they're going to be. So this is a high prosperity sword I made. I thought that prosperity would give you more coin drops when you killed enemies, so that's why I named it Kingmaker, a never-ending font of coin. But it turned out I was wrong. prosperity just gives you more item drops. So let's make something a little more complex in the grid here. So we're going to use the 2 sharks, since I just realized that you can use both of those in a weapon. One thing you can do while you're building is to just hide or show the various items, and that will allow you to more easily grab the other items and adjust them. You know, and just see like how that's going to line up with the rest of the weapon. Because like for this, I'm thinking about putting it... get another shark. And then we're going to rotate this one. So you see the green will rotate it this way. Red rotates this way. And the blue rotates this way. So there's your axes of rotation. And you can always take something out and put it back to reset its position. So we're just going to slide this up in line with the other one here. We're going to rotate it. So that's lined up. That's close. There we go. And then just do transform, move it down. Let's see how that looks. Alright. So we're going to move it back up a little bit, and then we're going to rotate it along this axis. Oh, we're going to need to shift it more. I'm trying to get it to line up with the head of the shark. Like it's got a mouth over its head, is sort of the idea I'm going for here. So we're going to move it up just a little bit, rotate it down a little bit more, slide it in. How's that looking? Pretty good. I'm going to grab this one, slide it over, rotate it back, about like that. See how that looks. I'm going to slide it in just a little more. Alright. Now it's got like a crazy mouth chomping out of its main mouth. What kind of handle do we want on this thing? I guess we'll just put a fast handle on here. Because that's quite the swing time there. Go grab another handle, see if we can speed that up a little bit. Now in future builds, I think Jeddick is going to... I'm not 100% on this. I think he's going to make some adjustments so that you can't use even different kinds of handles to adjust the speed. You'll only be able to have one handle, kind of a deal. That's still a really slow attack there. We're actually going to move the Great Shark down to the end since I'm leaving it as is. That way I can put other things in here and hide them. So go ahead and add the Zilith handle. I'm trying to get this thing as fast as possible. 0.7's not bad. Let's see. Do any of these have special abilities? No, just damage added. So what we could do is we could add another item here, like the Vampiric Corrupted Blade. And then go and hide that. Whenever you're making adjustments to what items you're putting in, always go ahead and take out a handle and put it back in, and that kind of resets and recalculates your attack time. And that usually gives you a better attack time. Not always, it kind of depends. But yeah, that's good, because it's got Vampiric, like, you know, we're chomping on our enemies and stealing some of their health. And so we're just gonna call this Jaws. Whoops, caps lock. Jaws. Let's see. I'm trying to come up with like a clever pun or something. I can't think of anything. I'm just gonna make a reference to an old D&D campaign that my friends and I were in. One of my friends had a little animal companion, and it basically ate a little kobold or goblin or something we were fighting. And he was trying to convince me, I was the DM at the time, trying to convince me to give him some lifesteal for his creature. He's like, it's like lifesteal, but with protein. So we'll go ahead and just give that tooltip a little nod to my buddy. That is quite the sword. Alright. Let's summon some skeletons and give them a little chop. Oh, that's interesting. The shark actually, like, moves a little bit. Huh. Yeah, there's all kinds of little, like, animated things like that that you don't necessarily see when you're in the advanced crafting grid. Yeah, you see the little green 0 there on myself. That is the health that I'm stealing with my lifesteal. So yeah, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. Like make a 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna make like a chainsaw type of deal. Let's see. I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm not even sure what I'm grabbing there. Oh yeah, you can't even hide the last item in the list. It's part of the graphical issue. Okay. So we're gonna start with this iron gear. We're gonna turn it to match the alignment of the hand here. It's a little tricky trying to line it up with the see-through hand, but looks pretty solid. We'll slide it up a little bit and see how that looks. That's pretty close. So we'll just rotate the rest to match that one, whether or not it's spot on with my hand. As long as the other gears align with that one, then everything will be good. Looks pretty solid. So what I'm going for here is basically like a chainsaw sort of a deal, where they're all going to be rotating right next to each other. So it won't actually look like gears so much as just like a toothed edge that's rotating. Rotate. So it's hard to tell if it's lined up just right. You gotta click off and then click back on the item. I guess that one's still just a little off. Looks perfect. And honestly, if they're not perfect, it's not the end of the world. You know, we're just having fun, trying to make stuff that looks cool. Rotate. off still. Yeah, just make sure you're highlighting the right thing that you want to move before you start clicking and dragging. Because otherwise you can end up either clicking on something else or moving something in a way that you didn't mean to. Oops. Oh, it looks pretty good. And one more. Alright, this is going to be a huge weapon. I might move these a little bit closer together here. Should we get the right one? There we go. Alright, let me throw a handle on here. Alright, I'll call this chainsaw. Always make sure you back out the entirety of the iron item description. There was one time I put a new description in for an item that I'd spent like 5-10 minutes getting all the pieces just right, and I didn't back out the entirety of the previous item description, and so it had like half of the old description plus my new description I just typed, and I had to remake the entire weapon. It was not fun. Let's see. Vroom vroom. And you can make these interesting or boring. I'm just kind of goofing off right now. Oh, that's junk. Chainsaw. I have a chest that I put weapons I've crafted in. Ah, yeah, that's... No! What happened to that last gear? What? Oh man. Well, that's unfortunate. It was what? Slot 5? Huh. I'll have to mention that to Jeddick. Now let's do that real quick while I'm thinking about it. Chicken sword. Alright, Munchie. I'll get right on that. Marble. That's a nice, lovely chicken color. Ah, yes. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a chicken. Boom. It's ready to go. Alright. Chicken body is longer than it is tall. Taller than it is wide. That's a pretty big chicken right there. Scale that down just a little bit. How about like that? Is that like a good chicken? Good chicken size. Just shift it to land on our handle here. Okay. Let's go and use that web blade for the wings. I liked that look. Just need to get it poking out the right amount. Let's see, we're going to rotate it this way. So we want, because that's going to be towards the front. Yeah, that's what we want. As far as the wing size goes, that's Still a little big. Now it's just gonna drop straight in. Let's go ahead and scale this up. Alright. Make that a little bit bigger. Alright. Add another block. This one's going to be the head. Yep, see what I said about making sure you grab the right part? I'm going to go ahead and make that just a tad bigger. Alright, and we have a chicken head. I need to give it that's a little under neck tuft here. Whoa, whoa. Again, making sure you grab the right things is important. Alright. There's that. And then the beak. Rotate that down. Scale that down, down. Gotta decide how much beak we want here. That looks pretty good. Alright, and then for the eyes, go and grab an iron tool rod. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. We have to rotate it this way. That looks a little off level. That's pretty good. Scale it down. Scale it down a little more. Oof. It's still a little, a little wide. Oh. Ah, look at that. We wield a chicken. It's not a chicken sword. It's something better. Let's see. What description should we give this chicken? Ba-da-ba-da-ba. chicken. I'm trying to think of a good description here. Chicken is a noisy weapon. More effective as a meal than an instrument of death. Or is it? Ah, that's fantastic. Look at that. It's a chicken. We've got a chicken to wield. Ladies and gentlemen, you can hit people with a chicken. Let's go hit this chicken with our chicken. Ah, what do you think of that? Come back, chicken. You coward. It's pretty fantastic. I like it. Ah, it's not the greatest weapon, but it's chicken. Ah, that's fantastic. I like the way that turned out. Big Munchie, I did not make a chicken sword. I made a chicken. You're welcome. It's even better. Yeah, you can't use weapon parts and pickaxes, and you can't use pickaxe parts in weapons. Jetic, what kind of garbage game is this? No, I'm sure he'll add that eventually. Imbued with magic by the princess herself. This legendary blade has the power to seal darkness. Boom! Master sword! Aw, look at that! Except the magic is all in the wrong place. Ah. Oof, a little laggy there for a second. Yeah, Jetic, if we could get the ability to adjust those particle effects, that would be phenomenal. Craft. Alright, so the one in slot 3 also still has the magic effects. Cool. So you cannot make those invisible. That is oh yeah, that's definitely a better looking Master Sword right there. How'd our stats end up? Oh, pretty identical actually. That's about it for the weapon tutorial. If you watched the whole thing, thanks for watching. I'll see you around.